these behaviors that we now have a name for, which is bullying, have been called rites of passages for a long time. It's a way of communicating now that has almost become just accepted.
There are lots of negative outcomes ranging from social emotional behavior problems to severe depression, sometimes suicide.
A person is bullied when he or she is exposed repeatedly and over time to negative actions on the part of one or more other persons.
It's a development of more and more hopelessness over time.
Not exactly one of the best times of my day.
As much as I love this game, this is going to be torture.
Those children who tend to get excluded are the ones that you see really start to develop some poor senses of identity. They're starting to struggle with who they are, feeling isolated, feeling lonely, and so forth.
Listen, when you play defense, I need you to get down low for me. Get your arms out. You can do this, right? Come on, let's go. Trevor, what was that? Give me 4 laps.
Boys typically are more overt in their expression of bullying. They'll push, they'll be more physical.
Hey, Mark, think fast.
Girls are more involved with being sort of covert in how they express themselves. It's often harder for teachers or parents to identify because of that. It's more like shunning, gossiping, saying mean things, in the locker room or in the cafeteria when an adult's not around.
Someone's sitting there.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Someone's sitting there too.
Hey, look, it's Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Oh my gosh, here she comes. Watch this.
They really internalize it. And there's a long pattern of negative outcomes that we see with those children who really internalize that bullying or that rejection or that negative treatment by other children.
I mean, I think it's that simple. Just try to put yourself in the shoes of that person.
How'd you like the taste of leather, fairy boy? Here, catch.
Come on. Hey, come on.
Watch this, your work's coming out. I'm going to the toilet. Sissy.
It's very scary for a student to essentially stand up to a bully or a group of bullies because they don't want to jeopardize their own social standing.
What some kids perceive as fun is not fun at all for the kids that are being bullied. And I would say that some of the bullies are aware of that, and that is why they're doing it. And then there are the kids who maybe not as self-aware, not as sensitive to other people.
You also find that children are mean because sometimes they're trying to elevate themselves. They're trying to make themselves feel better by making others feel worse.
Are you gonna stare at my book or are you gonna pick it up?
Yeah, loser Lisa, pick up the book.
Where you going, Lisa? Hey, Bob just having fun!
There are a couple of different profiles that I see of kids that I work with who bully. So trying to make other people feel bad, either to elevate themselves or to try and fit into a group by being that person who makes the others laugh. Girls are more social beings. They tend to be more hurt by relational aggression, by the exclusion, the rejection, and those types of things. And, you know, again, being much more focused on those feelings, you're more likely to see the crying and the sadness, some of the rumination that goes on when they've encountered some difficult things with their peers.
Boys very often don't communicate their feelings. I think, first of all, let's just step back in general. If we're talking about teens, they have yet to identify what it is they really are feeling. Teens first have to stop, take a moment, take a deep breath, identify what it is they are feeling, whether they're the bullier or the bullied. Boys really have been socialized to feel like any sign of vulnerability is perceived as a personal weakness.
Hey Mark, everything's all right?
As much as I need to talk to someone about this, I know it'll only make things worse. Yeah, Coach, I'm fine.
Okay.
Kids will want to reach out to adults, whether it's their parents or a teacher or someone at the school, but if they're concerned that that's just going to make it worse, that the parent or that adult is going to say something to the students and then there's going to be further repercussions, then it makes the student not want to reach out.
Their reluctance typically to talk to an adult is because they feel like they're not going to be heard, which I think a lot of kids feel these days. Teen suicide due to bullying has increased tremendously in the past 10 years, and I think it has a heck of a lot to do with cyberbullying.
Dear Mom, I'm really sorry. I just can't do this anymore. I've been a burden for so long and I don't want to hurt you guys anymore. I love you all so much. Tell David and Nathan that I love them and I'm sorry for everything I've done over the years. It seems like it's never gonna end. With every breath I take, the pain gets worse and worse. I don't want to feel the pain anymore. Take care of Cleo and Daddy, and always remember that I love you.
Unfortunately, social media has just intensified bullying, and I think the effects of bullying.
It's not only going to one person, or it's not only bully to bullied, it's all over.
When children are exposed to these negative experiences with peers, when they are bullied or rejected, rarely is it just one event that's going to lead to depression. When that occurs and it gets to be so much for the child that they are contemplating suicide, there are usually some warning signs that occur first. You will see sadness. Oftentimes you will see some hesitance to go to school or some school refusal. There's been some kind of decline in their motivation altogether, that they're not as interested in engaging in sports or clubs or other things that they've been engaged in the past.
The bystanders play a very important role, and they can either be what's called passive. They're not really actively supporting it, but by not actively stopping it, it helps fuel the fire for the bully. And then we have the active bystanders. These are the kids that speak up. These are the kids that say, stop it, cut it out, don't do that, don't pick on him, don't pick on her, or they go and get an adult to intervene right away so that they don't let the bullying continue.
Going to the toilet!
Hey. Leave him alone. Chill out. Leave him alone.
When students are watching someone else being picked on or teased, oftentimes what goes through their mind is, I want to help, but what's going to happen if I speak up? If I say something, are they going to turn to me and say, hey, do you want some of this?
Hey, do you mind? She's gonna sit there. Sure. Hey, you okay?
Yeah, I'm alright. It's just nobody really seems to like me.
You know what? Don't worry about it. Just sit next to me from now on. Don't worry about them.
What you find is that when you can get more than one kid to actually stand up, that it has a much more powerful effect. It's very similar to that bystander effect. Once someone else has gotten it going, then it's easier for other people to speak up. But it's very scary for a student to essentially stand up to a bully or a group of bullies because they don't want to jeopardize their own social standing. It takes incredible courage for children to approach another adult or even a peer, sometimes even a parent. You feel vulnerable saying that something happened and it made you feel bad. You can feel embarrassed to talk about some of the awful things that students are doing to you at school. So if a parent or an adult can just again show evidence that they're going to be there to listen, I think it sets the precedent for that child being able to talk to them in the future.
Mark, is everything okay?
Hey, Coach, you got a minute?
Of course, come on in.
thank God, my daughter and I have a great relationship. She came to me and we talked every single day so I could get her through the next day at school. Parents can have the most impact, I think, because it's our job to help build our kids' self-esteem and confidence. It's our job to advocate for our kids, which I think is a lost art. It makes me very sad as a parent to see how many parents sort of sit back and say, oh, you know, it'll just pass. Or I still hear the words, this is a rite of passage. They'll get through it. I got through it. You know, it's just, that's not okay.
We have to first acknowledge that there are other children, other people in the world who do mean things, and we can't always change that. We would like to, but we can't. But that if you can get through this, and if you can surround yourself with people who kind of make up for the mean children, who make up for the mean people in your life, that there will be a point in time where you get to pick and choose who you want to be around and surround yourself by lots of positive people. So just don't give up and don't feel as though this is the way life is going to always be, because you will get to the other side.
Two words that are really missing in our culture at this point, I think a lot, from youth to old, are the words "I'm sorry." And often that's all that ever has to happen. You know, the bully can look at the kid and say, wow, I really didn't mean for that to happen. I'm really sorry. We okay? Are we okay?